Let me know when you're recording.
Okay, go for it whenever you're ready. We're good. Sorry.
Okay, hello, this is our group. My name's Christina, that's Sam, and Brendan and Hannah. We're an awesome group, and we're going to discuss with you our inclusive tech research and mind map. So Brendan, if you don't mind making my image larger, I'm going to go through the exceptionality of giftedness.
Okay, one thing real quick, guys, before we all talk, mute your mics, and then when you come on the mic, like unmute and mute. That way we don't hear each other over top of each other's mics. So I'm going to mute mine now,
Okay.
and you're good, Christina, whenever you're ready. So everyone, yeah.
Okay, did the intro get recorded?
Yeah, you're good.
Wonderful, I'm going to carry on. Okay, so the exceptionality that I was researching was giftedness, and some of the key areas of giftedness that need to be explored when you are teaching someone with this exceptionality is, the first one is intellectual ability. It's high for these students, so you need to really address your instructional teaching as far as focus your instruction on high order thinking, give the students some leadership opportunities, give them self-directed research opportunities. As far as the environment, allow the students to access the library, to do research and have use of the computer. As far as assessment goes, give them a choice of assignments that involve higher order thinking to be assessed, and also give them some choice of assignments that involve the method of presentation being used. So some digital tools that can be used as far as addressing their high intelligence level is using a website like Bitstrip would allow the students some leadership opportunities. They could develop a class account for Bitstrip and they could have that leadership role of organizing it. Moving on to time management skills. As far as instruction goes, give some instructions of the different methods they could use to do time management. Give them a visual timer, so you could use a digital tool like an iPad, or there's also a checklist app when it comes to keeping the student organized with assignments. As for the environment, use preferential feeding to avoid distractions. And as far as assessment goes, do chunk tests for students that are gifted, and that will help, also giving them additional time. Moving on to social skills, something that I noticed with this information for gifted students is that they need to be directly taught lessons to the whole class in order to learn about social skills instead of isolating the student. Give a broad message to teach the student about it. Post posters about interaction skills and conflict resolution skills. There's also an idea I had incorporating the digital tools. You could look into Pinterest and get the student to research images or cartoons that involve conflict resolution. So that's one way to kind of put the power in their hands to kind of inquire on their own and learn about social skills, because that is something that gifted students sometimes struggle with. Finally, organizational skills. This seems to be one of the needs that needs to be addressed with gifted students. So during instructional time, the student may need assistance with time management. So give them an organizational system, give them prompts, time check-ins, make sure instructions are direct and clear. You could use color coding to keep them organized, because gifted students tend to be disorganized from what I've been reading so far. As far as digital tools, you could give them an iPad for taking pictures of the agendas, a quick way to keep them on track, and also to do check-ins that way. And yep, that's it in a nutshell.
Awesome. Thanks, Christina. Hannah, do you want to go ahead whenever you're ready?
Sure. Thanks, Brenda. Okay, so I made my mind map regarding students who are deaf or hard of hearing. So there's a variety of skills that they could develop, including articulation skills, metaphoric skills. Self-advocacy is one that I didn't think of before. Self-esteem and social skills. So I found that most of the techniques used could be from the teacher. One of the biggest surprises for me, something that I didn't really think of that I probably should have, was when you're teaching in front of the class, make sure you have that student who is deaf or hard of hearing seated in a preferential spot that they can see the teacher at all times, because a lot of deaf or hard of hearing students read lips. And I think this is especially important if you as a teacher don't know how to speak sign language and can't communicate that way with the student. You need to be ensuring that you do everything in your power to make sure that that student can see you and understand what you're saying. So a lot of this goes with simply check in with the student, make sure they're understanding. Make sure you as a teacher provided visuals, visual timers. If you're watching a DVD, make sure it's closed captioned so the student can feel like they're a part of the class, like they're participating. We don't want to, we want to be inclusive of the student, and we can do that through a lot of digital tools like voice to text representation software. Of course, there's the SIA laptops that you can improve. I found a really interesting app called TapTap, which actually, like, it goes on your phone, and if there's a certain sound, like a fire alarm, for example, that the deaf or hard student wouldn't be able to hear, the phone picks up on that sound detection and translates it into like a vibration. So you get this alert on your phone that goes like, oh my gosh, this is a fire alarm, you need to get to a safe area or whatever. So I thought that was a super interesting school tech tool that is used for safety reasons. I think that pretty much wraps it up for me. Everything else is on the mind map.
No, thanks, Hannah. That's really good. You made some really good points too. I never really thought about whole class approach, like with videos, and then you can just use the closed captioning to kind of strengthen it. So that's really good. That's a good point. Okay, I'm going to go with mine real quick. It kind of works well segueing off of where Hannah was. I did speech impairment exceptionalities, which also kind of encompasses hearing. So I'll just start at the bottom. Anger management. So just tips, like we're kind of very similar so far between Christina's and Hannah's also. So using like direct instruction, small groups or partners, preferred seating, provide cool down time, speak privately with the student, and post clear and descriptive rules around the classroom. For a digital tool, focus on maybe using social media means like YouTube or Pinterest to allow them to make connections or allow a student to kind of escape and release that that anger or whatever's built up in them. For articulation, use visual pictures and like words, model the correct pronunciation, use a slower pace, reduce distractions and background noise in the classroom, and provide the access to spell check. Articulation tools that would be good would be digital creation tools like Prezi, Bitstrips, or Powtoon. You could add all the numerous poster creation tools that we've come up with also. Self-esteem, looking at focusing on the success and strengths of the student, so reinforcing small improvements or efforts. I think that's extremely important, just trying to bring up their self-esteem and making sure that you acknowledge everything that they're working on in the classroom. No put-downs. I think it's just an extremely good classroom motto to go by. Check in with students, and then again reduce distractions. Digital tools could be using like a Twitter handle to try to like kind of more self-identify themselves. Wikis, Google, and news articles to make real-world connections through the news sources. Looking at verbal ability, so pairing them with visual and oral learners separate. Use clear and concise instruction. Provide extra time. Digital tools could be, again, Pic, Collage, Canva, Posta, basically creation tools to allow them to kind of express themselves. Hearing, some tools that I did find, Talk-It and Ivy, Intelligent Voice. Those are really good tools on allowing students with hard of hearing to be able to express themselves in text, and then having a program basically speak for them. Social skills, looking at basically promoting collaboration, promote sign lessons in your classroom, maybe have like once a week where the student leads the classroom in various signs, and basically just becoming a more inclusive classroom all around for that learner. You could also focus on digital spaces like Edmodo, Facebook, and Instagram to promote personal connections and sharing of information to just allow them to be a little bit more social. And I think that's where I'll leave it. Self-advocacy, just using digital tools for expression purposes. So maybe create school initiatives or posters using digital tools. Engage in debates. You could use Skype and interact with other students in other classrooms or other schools also. So just some ideas. And I'll pass it off to Sam here.
Brendan, I love your point about digital expression, though, like making sure that student feels like their identity is important in the class. Love your idea about leading the class in teaching sign language. Why not have them come up and do one new thing a week, like you said? Like that's brilliant. That's really, really good.
Right on. Thanks, Hannah. Go ahead, Sam, whenever you're ready. I'm going to blow yours up.
Awesome, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you fine. You're
Okay.
good.
So, in mine, I focused on learning disabilities, and there are so many different subheadings for this one, it's incredible. So, I just focused on a few key ones. As Christina said, and Hannah and Brendan, everyone kind of hit all across the board for mine. Like there's a lot of similarities. For example, Christina mentioned with gifted students, color coding to stay organized and the use of timers, and under task initiation for a learning disability, that's totally all about timers. And Hannah was saying for seating for deaf or hard of hearing students, you want to seat them near the front or in close proximity to you. That's totally the same for learning disabilities, for attention skills, let's say, for example. Brendan was also saying preferred seating and using visual pictures and speaking clearly, and that's totally under my executive function category. So a lot of these are overlapping, which is kind of cool. What else do I want to focus on? For things like, let's go to fine motor skills. That's an example of a learning disability where the teacher can do things like providing copies of notes and using larger lined paper or paper with raised lines. And there's so many little assistive technologies you can use for fine motor skills, like pencil grips are the easiest thing that you could possibly get a kid to use, and they love them too. They think they're so much fun. You can use, I found this cool app called Pages, and it's kind of the same thing as Kurzweil in a way, but so it gets you to do like speech to text and text to speech and predicting what you're trying to write and that kind of stuff. And it's really cool because it's just an app that you can have on an iPad or anything like that. A lot of the learning disabilities had things like you could use a lot of apps for them, and other than computers and laptops and iPads, it's kind of hard to think of any other assistive technologies. It would be kind of neat if at the end of all this we could even think of something that is other than those things. Like I thought of timers, so did Christina, and that's a really good one because that's super easy. You could have kitchen timers, anything like that, an egg timer even in your classroom is fun. And other than that, another thing I found that was kind of similar across my board was rewarding small efforts, like Brendan was saying. So you have to praise small efforts instead of just praising success. You have to praise efforts along the way too, because that's super important for all of our categories. Any exceptionality, it's really cool stuff. And that's all I have to say about mine.
Oh, that's really awesome, Sam. Thanks. And it took me like 1 week of grade 1 practice to realize the importance of an egg timer and like timing yourself and staying on track. And my associate teacher showed it, and she had it going. And then by the second week, I went and bought one, and I had like a little chicken timer, and it helped me a lot. So, okay, let's come up with real quick, guys. We're at like 12 minutes, so let's try and keep this under 15. So let's try and do this in like 2 minutes. What's an observation that we kind of came up with? Anyone want to kick it off?
We could just say that there's similarities across the board between the different, I don't know if that's more of a connection, but there are similarities in the way to approach a lot of these different exceptionalities.
I found too that some of the things that we're mentioning, like teaching techniques, some of them are so simple to do. Oh my goodness, make sure the student sits where that student can see you. Like that's so simple to do, but that can make a world of difference for that student.
No, that's awesome. What about a surprise? What was something that was like a big surprise? I think surprising kind of
You
stands.
know what? To be honest, I wasn't even thinking about how students that are, what was the one you did, Hannah? Students that are deaf,
That are
right?
deaf and hard of hearing, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't even thinking about, wow, they're integrated into the classrooms as well. Like, obviously, but didn't think of it, you know? Well, like, obviously, Sam, you had some great connections between the different...
I think for a connection, we could even say that
Sam, you had some great connections.
I think that a connection we could say that I'm sure we all agree with is that we can all connect with almost all of the things that we were saying could be instructional strategies or tech tools like color coding things to be organized, and just all the things we were saying. It's kind of, you could do it for every kid and every teacher. It doesn't mean it's just for the kids with exceptionalities, right? I think that's my connection, is that we can connect to it too.
No, that's awesome, Sam. I really like that. I don't know, for a question, I would just think, what is there, like you said, Sam, about 5 minutes ago or so, you were asking kind of what is there outside of the iPad or the laptop or that, buzzword technology that we already know about. What else is there, coming to education as far as being able to support learners with extreme exceptionalities and even just small exceptionalities too. So it'd be neat to research kind of what's up and coming, like between now and 2020. How are things going to change? Like, are iPads going to be the iPad 5, the iPad 6? Are they staying with that? So, something to that degree. Just seeing what technology is, how it's going to evolve to support these learners. I don't know if we want to have any closing remarks, but we can close this video off. We'll upload all of our images to our discussion, and then we'll also upload our connection, our surprise, and our question as well. And then we'll put this video onto YouTube. So how do you guys all feel? We all good?
Feeling good.
Good.
Okay, I'm going to stop the video.